Okay, this is Jim McMichael, and once again we're conducting an interview for Everybody's Auto Buyer and Consignments. Today we're interviewing Charlie Sobczak. Charlie, would you tell me the name of your company and where they're located, please?
The name of our company is Driving MBA, and we have two locations, one in North Scottsdale by the Loop 101 and Frank Lloyd Wright exit, and the other is in Chandler at the Chandler and Dobson area intersection.
Great. Charlie, if you would, what does Driving MBA do?
We're a professional driver tutoring school that has been licensed by the state of Arizona to give permit testing and license testing for novice teen drivers.
Oh, excellent. Great program. How did you happen to find Everybody's Auto Buyer and Consignments?
Back in 2007, when we opened up the Chandler facility, Jim McMichael is part of the Chandler Chamber that came and greeted us, and that's where I first met Jim and found out more about his business.
Okay, great. Now, the services you hired them for was what?
To purchase a vehicle and help us get out of two vehicles, actually purchase two vehicles and help us get out of two vehicles that we had negative equity in.
Okay, so they did help you with the trade of those vehicles.
Correct.
And everything? Okay, great. How did you find Everybody's Auto Buyer and Consignments to work with?
Very professional. The reason I had Jim go ahead and do this was because I knew he had a long background in retail automotive industry, and he knew all the ins and outs of the business. And even though I consider myself a little bit knowledgeable of it, there's a lot of things I don't know as far as what cars a dealership might be wanting to get out of their inventory. They're brand new, but maybe they got excess of that particular vehicle. What are the rebates? I could find that out, sure, but the cash, they call it dealer cash. Sometimes I would never know that would be out there, and Jim was able to successfully get that for us as well. So, and the trade-in values, I can't even begin to tell you there, because Jim would send me emails giving me updates of different dealerships that quoted him what the trades would be worth, also giving him what the vehicles that we were looking at that particular dealership, what the selling price would be, what the rebates, what the cash dealer cash was. So I really had a really documented piece of information that told me exactly where we stood and what's the best deal for us. And what was more amazing was the trade-ins, because certain dealers may not want the cars that we had for trade-ins, and they gave us very low pricing, and then other dealerships really wanted those cars and paid much more for it. So we maximized what we were looking for on both sides because of Jim's knowledge.
Oh, good. All right. So they did provide the services that you hired for,
Yes.
in your opinion? Okay. And was it done to your satisfaction?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel that they protected your best interests as they state they will in their advertising?
Yeah, well, yes, and I think Jim takes care of that right up front, because he has several pages that you read through, you sign off, and you know exactly what he's doing for you, and you get what he tells you he's going to give to you. So that was really appreciated.
Thanks, Charlie. Were the services a good value for the flat fee
Absolutely.
that they charge?
I made up that in the difference of the trade-in values on both.
Okay, were you happier? Was it more knowledgeable for you to know that it was a flat fee versus a commission where you wouldn't know?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. Again, that was the service that you provided, was everything's up front. You knew exactly where you stood in your decision making on what you wanted to do. So, yeah, it made it very simple and very easy and very professional.
Okay. Well, Charlie, one final thing. Any final comments you would want anyone watching this to know about Everybody's Auto Buyer and Consignments? And also, would you just tell us a little bit more about Driving MBA and what would be a good client for you, and how can they get a hold of you?
Well, number one, the buying experience with Everybody's Auto Broker, Everybody's Auto Buyer, excuse me, is one that even if you think you know how to buy a car and how to go in and negotiate, you don't know all the ins and outs that Jim has had through experience of year after year after year of dealing with the automotive industry, and I believe it's 20 plus years. And so that's worth a lot in itself. So don't kid yourself that you think you can go in and negotiate the best deal. It might not be the best car for you. So sit down, have a conversation with Jim, let him tell you what he can do, and then you make the decision from there. What Driving MBA is all about, our best client is young novice teens that haven't started to go get their permit yet. We'd like to start them, and their parents. We have classes for parents to take and make you better educated, to make this a better bonding experience between you and your child, and have you become a better coach and instructor, and taking a lot of anxiety out of it. So there's a lot of things that Driving MBA offers besides licensing and permit testing and licensing, which we're licensed by the state to do. But we also have high-tech simulation that is utilized to allow your team to crash in a very safe environment. We can go back, replay those things for you, and show them how they could have avoided that crash altogether, so that when they go out for their first drive in a real car with our instructors, they already know the proper vehicle handling, proper speed and space management skills for making right and left-hand turns, and keeping that constant safety zone around them in a safe manner. And that's worth its weight in gold, just to allow somebody to crash in a simulator versus in a real car.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Charlie, I want to thank you and Driving MBA for being a client of Everybody's Auto Buyer and Consignments.
Thank you, Jim.